Welcome back to Painlaw. I'm Adam Goldfein. This is Richard Griffin, one of Atlanta's top personal injury attorneys. If you are involved in an auto accident, using that as a simple example, one of the most common examples of a personal injury claim. Someone's hurt, you're in pain, you're suffering. The question often becomes, what's my case worth? Now, this could be the passenger or the driver. It could be anyone. It could be a pedestrian hit by a car or, say, someone on a bicycle, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. People are going to come in and they're going to ask the most uncomfortable question. They're going to want to come to you and they're going to basically say, Richard, what's my hand worth? Richard, what's my arm worth? Or God forbid, if I lose a loved one, what's their life worth?
Right.
How do we answer that?
Well, you have to really dig into that case. Certainly, probably the biggest determining factor of value is going to be the severity of the injury. If you have a brain injury and you can no longer take care of yourself, you're going to have money that is going to be home nursing care.
Maybe for the rest of their life.
For the rest of their life, yeah.
Right.
You've got the lost income for the rest of your life. You've got the pain and suffering that you're going to endure for the rest of your life. So if you had a spinal injury or where you're paralyzed.
So a catastrophic injury where it is life-altering. It's not, I broke my arm and it just heals and maybe it's a little funny when it rains.
Right.
But we're talking about the big ones. What would be some examples, big catastrophic injuries that you might help people with?
Well, certainly there's an example of a person that I went to, 23 years old. He was at the Shepherd Spine Center. He'd been involved in an accident. The car rolled over. And, he had a perfectly healthy body, and he was never going to be able to walk again. He had to be in a wheelchair. Spinal injuries are horrific, and the courage that he had, knowing that was what his life was going to be, was inspiring to me. But it's truly difficult to deal, and you're glad to help, and you're there to make sure that you get as much money as possible. But if you've got a brain injury, a spinal injury, a herniated disc, a fracture, or you need to have...
A fracture is what?
A broken bone.
Okay.
If you've got a broken bone that requires a lot of surgeries, pins. Yeah, that's very painful, and that's typically a permanent injury. It's going to make it difficult for you to walk, to enjoy life. Those are things that certainly have great value. And some of the most limiting factors in those kind of cases, and in wrongful death cases where there's the loss of a life, is going to be how much insurance there is, because a lot of times those cases are worth a whole lot more than the available insurance.
Yeah, and it's very important for you to understand that you're going to need somebody on your side, because when a case is worth a lot of money, insurance companies are going to bring even a bigger defense to bear, right?
Absolutely.
Because they have more at risk.
Absolutely.
So let's say, God forbid, there was a semi, a tractor trailer, a semi, right? Hit somebody and kill somebody.
Right.
What type of efforts are the insurance companies going to bring to bear on those?
Everything they've got, because if it's an 18-wheeler, there could be $5 million coverage. There could be a lot more than that. You've got deep pockets with insurance companies. With the trucking companies, where they have a lot of value assets that you could attach. So they're going to do their best to try to attack the case through liability, since the damages are a wrongful death. One of the things to realize is when you have a wrongful death, you've got the burial expenses. You've got the pain and suffering before they passed. You've got the medical expenses before they passed.
So even though they're no longer alive, you can actually still recover for the pain they experienced?
You can. The ones who can recover are going to be the spouse that survived or the children that survived.
Okay.
And basically that is, obviously there's no money that's going to replace a lost life. I know you lost your mom, I lost my dad. You lose people that mean the world to you, and there's nothing to replace that.
Yeah, but I think that if it's due to somebody else's negligence, then it's only right and just that you're compensated and that individual is compensated, So it's important that you take the time, if you have suffered and if a family member has suffered, make the phone call and find out what your options are. When you're talking about a catastrophic injury, we're not talking about a simple slip and fall.
Right.
We're talking about needing real professional advice.
And with wrongful death, an interesting thing is that you not only recover for the economic loss, economists can project what you would have earned over the course of your life, but you also can recover for the value of the lost life, which is, it's really interesting, because it's not the value of that person to the spouse or the children. It's how rich was their life, how valuable was that life, how involved and how happy and how they were involved with their family, how their marriage, their children, their church, their community. It's the giving money to the surviving family for that lost life in the shoes of that person.
It's a terrible thing to think about. Brain injuries,
Right.
spinal cord injuries, herniated discs, broken bones, including wrongful death. Some of the catastrophic injuries that people do suffer every single day.
Right.
Right? Over 30,000 people a year, for example, are killed in the roads and highways. Not just talking about, accidents that take a life in another form.
Right.
So it's literally thousands of people every single day. Now, if you or a loved one suffered a catastrophic injury, then don't think it's only slip and falls. That's when you really need professional advice. This is not a do-it-yourself project. This is where you need to go and interview, you need to get advice and counsel. You need to sit down with a professional. Richard Griffin is such an individual. His phone number is on the screen. It's where you can get the compensation that you're entitled to and hold the responsible parties responsible. Why? Because this is Painlaw.
I'm attorney Richard Griffin, the legal expert and co-host of the Painlaw Show. How much is my case worth? This is the #1 question asked by people injured at work or in a car accident. Now you can find out for yourself by using our new settlement calculator at 877painlaw.com. Now, knowing the projected settlement value gives you a goal. Hiring our experienced injury attorneys will help you get there. Call the Griffin Law Firm today at 877-PAIN-LAW or visit us at 877painlaw.com to find out how we can make all the difference in your case. After a car accident, you're faced with many difficult decisions. How can you get the medical treatment or even surgery you need? 877-PAIN-LAW can help. How can you pay your bills when you're too injured to work? 877-PAIN-LAW can help. How can you get the settlement that you need and deserve? 877-PAIN-LAW is the answer. I'm attorney Richard Griffin of the Griffin Law Firm. Call me right now at 877-PAIN-LAW so I can talk to you personally and explain how we can make all the difference in your case.